Okay. I did have another next gen and current gen. Your frustration with current gen and predictions for next gen. I wanted to get that topic in. I just to give you my take on it too. I think we've reached the point where gameplay and games matter, really. You could have the most high powered console. I think we've got to the point where Sony and Microsoft have pushed. These consoles are getting more expensive. Who knows how expensive it's going to be next year? We don't know with potential tariffs and stuff for importing. We just don't know. And the rumors about, well, we do think that the Switch 2 is going to be another handheld dock situation. The prevalence of like Rogue Ally and Steam Deck. There's rumors that PlayStation and that Microsoft may be doing a handheld thing too. Do you think we've reached the point where pushing the graphics is no longer important? And I think this is going to be the most pivotal generation, because I do think they have to go more towards Nintendo route. Think outside of the box, games, taking your library with you, and very few games like the Pro. I can't justify a Pro. There's very, very few games that justify the PS5 or Series X right now that actually tap the potential, the high. Do you think we're at that point with next gen year predictions, how it's going to go for next gen?
No, I think we're totally at the age of diminishing returns. I mean, so many cross-generational games from the PS4 to the PS5. Most of the PS5 games that weren't cross-generational, you're kind of like, this probably could have been cross-generational. You know, the power of the SSD. It's the only way to get the new Ratchet and Clank. Well, how'd you put it on Steam? It seems like you figured that out. You could easily put that on PS4. You know, it's very interesting how everything is playing out, because now you have like these long gaps for games. You have games that have such a high budget that if they don't sell, you know, millions and millions of copies, the studio fails and stuff like that. Like, I think we're getting to a point where I think the industry is going to have to do like almost a soft reset. You know, I've been saying that we are in the middle of a gaming crash of sorts, not comparative to 1983, because obviously it was very different circumstances. But when, you know, think of how many games colossally failed this year, how many studios got shut down, how many layoffs there were. Unprecedented numbers. Nothing like we've ever seen before. We've never seen a situation like Concord before. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't think it'll affect all companies in the same way, but there's going to have to be some sort of changes going about. And I don't necessarily know what those changes could potentially be. It's very interesting. You know, I think you're going to start to see smaller projects from bigger companies.
I hope so. Yeah.
But I also think in the same breath here, you are going to see more remakes and remasters, because you're not remaking or remastering a game that sold like crap. Like, you're remaking and remastering games that people really want and games that people really loved. And, you know, I think there's going to be more of that. It's gonna be a very interesting next couple of years, I think, as far as, because, you know, like you said, you have the whole handheld side of things potentially looming, but then it's like, well, what is Xbox doing? Are they a third party company? Am I buying an Xbox, or do I already have an Xbox if everything is an Xbox? You know, PlayStation is still selling consoles, but their software sales haven't really been all that crazy at all. So I don't know. I don't know. I think it's kind of, no pun intended, uncharted territory, but I think you're going to see a lot more flies fall before this is all said and done.
Cool. I wanted to do another part of that question. If they don't do something different, if Microsoft and PlayStation just do what they've been doing, pushing graphics capabilities, I for one think that the consumers aren't going to bite this time. They're like, okay, I bought into this. It was $500, $600 this current gen. I still don't feel like I'm fulfilled with this generation. I don't think it's going to work next time if they just say, oh, this is more high powered. Ray tracing is even better. I don't feel people are going to buy it if it's just that.
I mean, because really, like I said before, software sells hardware, and if you don't have the software to coincide along the hardware, then what's the point of people upgrading? I think it's way too early to be talking about successors to the PS5 and the Xbox Series, because I mean, have these consoles really gotten started? Have we seen anything that's a wow factor with these consoles? To me, I haven't, and I think a lot of people feel that way as well. But, alternatively, you have these, it's very nuanced. It's very nuanced because I feel like we also have these, what I like to call hype beasts in the community. And it's becoming a thing where everything is great, everything is awesome. And because of whatever reason it is, maybe they don't want to lose access to stuff like that. But I posed this question to Spawnwave, and amazingly, it left him silent. And if you know anything about that man, he will justify anything in the world. But I asked him, I said, because it was about the Avowed previews. He's like, oh, the Avowed previews are looking really good. And I was like, John, when was the last time that we saw a big game that had a preview event where the previews were negative, where there were concerns about the game? And he just sat there and he was like, I don't know. I was like, exactly. You don't know. Yet we've had games like Concord. Yet we've had games like the freaking Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah.
Games that had fundamental problems that you could see within a few minutes of playing it. Games that had major issues within a few minutes of playing it. Yet every single preview event is always positive. Like I feel like there are core problems within the industry. You heard about with Concord failing, it was because of a hype beast mentality of this is great. There, no criticisms, no questions, no nothing, accept it sort of situation. And that is verified as one of the reasons why it failed. And I think that's an even bigger problem than people realize, just this whole mindset thing. And then you start to look at, well, who owns the major gaming media sites now? And you start to see that bubble is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And where it used to be a lot of places were independent people, they were all independent of each other. Now, most of these websites are owned by the same people. And so once again, the bubble is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So you get these people that hype up these games, and then the games don't meet expectations, or the games are bad, but those people never take accountability. They never say, oh yeah, well, I got that wrong. They move on to the next thing. It's like figure drawing says, the overly positive grifters. Like when people say grifters, they immediately think of like the whole everything is woke people, but they don't realize that there are many, many types of grifters. The positivity grifters on social media that have their check mark on Twitter, they're making the same money that the anti-woke grifters are. They're making the same money that the nothing is woke grifters are. It's two sides of the same coin with these things. And I think that is something that flies way under the radar with a lot of, just the way that information is distributed to gamers. And I think that's why, YouTube is important, because, there are people that are not a part of a bigger system, that are independent people that have independent thoughts. And sometimes, I remember specifically, before the launch of Cyberpunk on consoles, I said, where is the footage of this game on PS4 and Xbox One? Why have we not seen any footage of that? That is very suspect, especially considering this company, CD Projekt Red, is more known for their PC side of things. Why haven't we seen anything? That video got so many views and downvoted to hell. It was like
Yeah.
20% upvotes, 80% downvotes. How dare you?
I
How
love
dare
when that
all
happens.
of the previews said it was great. And then in retrospect, when it came out and it was a broken, buggy mess on the console side of things, all of a sudden it started to balance out and people came back. I'm sorry that I was mean to you. It's like, I don't care, but I was just posing a question because I thought it was very weird that was the case. And it's a whole big thing, especially when you look at these preview events and people are getting flown out to them. They're getting comped for their hotel, comp for their meals. Oh, this isn't a paid thing. I mean, maybe it's not paid in terms of them handing you money and saying promote this, but it's paid in the sense that everything is comped. You're getting early access to something. That early access is then going to make you money. So, it's very, very interesting. And it's something that I notice all the time.
Okay. So there are a lot of viewers on YouTube and social media that have lost confidence in the mainstream reporting and critique. And you feel that too, that you feel from what you're saying, you feel that it's impacted so much that the games have started to slide too, potentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Okay, that's
you have all these people telling you your game's great. You're so great. This is great. And then where are those people when that game isn't great? Where are those people when that game flops? Where are those people when that game costs thousands of people their jobs? They think that everything is positive, everything is great, is helping, when in actuality, if somebody would have said, hey, I'm not too sure about this, maybe this isn't exactly the move. Maybe you could have potentially helped save something with that by being a little bit more honest. But then you get the whole thing where people are scared to have their access cut off. Like Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, they don't send me anything. They don't send me games. They don't
I know
send me review
Nintendo's not
codes.
sending anything.
Oh yeah, no.
If Nintendo sends you something, it's probably not good.
Yeah, I'd rather not hear from them.
Yes.
Yeah, like a lot of major companies don't send me anything, and like I'm fine with that. I don't care because I'll just buy it on my own time. But people don't realize that there is financial gain within getting early access to stuff. Because if you're one of the first few people to review a game because you got a review copy of that game, people are going to be very interested in that. People are going to be gravitating towards that review because you're one of the first people out there. So while the compensation might not be clear, there always is some sort of thing kind of behind it. I feel, I remember, I got early access to No More Heroes 3, and they were like, well, we want everyone who got access to this game to send a special congratulations message to Suda51. So send us a little video. And I did. I sent the video. And then I played the game and I was like, oh, this game sucks. I don't like this game at all. And then I just had to bury it. I was like, yeah, happy birthday, Suda. Oh, by the way, your game, that's a piece of shit right there. And like, it is what it is, man. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens with the monetary side of things. I've had a company, a very popular game, reach out to me and wanted to do a dedicated video. And I was like, okay, well, here's my idea. I finally play your game because I've never played this and I probably wouldn't play it unless you reached out to me to do this. And they were like, yeah, but we have this new map and we really want to show off the new map. And it's like, I was like, well, okay, but I'm not familiar with the old map. So I think my idea might be a little bit better. And they literally said to me, they said, well, we'll give you an account that has access to the new map with a character that's already leveled up and stuff like that. So you could just jump into it and you could say that you used a friend's account. And I was like, I don't like that. And
Yeah.
it was a lot of money that they were offering me. And I was just like, nah, I can't do it. I'm sorry. Like it didn't feel right to me,
Your instincts are good. I'm not going to comment too much on, but one of the biggest lessons I've learned is getting too close to access in the past, and I would like to keep my distance from companies, and I think your instincts are really spot on that.
Yeah,
Especially that's a career ender right there. If
Yeah.
you're talking about this won't last forever, some of the situations that happen when you get too close to companies, oh boy, they don't care when stuff happens to your channel or things don't look good. They're
No, they don't.
gone. They're like, okay, bye.